Hey guys, I'm back today with another mukbang, and today I'm really excited because I have the jjajangmyeon that I actually like, the one that I mentioned in like 2 previous mukbangs, and I also have some more dumplings, and then I have apple slices on the side because, to be honest, right now I'm kind of struggling like deciding what to eat because I don't have much because I'm scared to go to the grocery store. So I'm just kind of making do with what I have. So that's why I keep eating dumplings, and I'm eating this again. And also have meatballs because I know that Ramdon you're supposed to have it with steak, but I don't have steak, so meatballs it is. Oh yeah, and I also added like half of the seafood packet that you're supposed to add in for Ramdon. So it's kind of like that, but like bootleg version. So so let me go ahead and eat a meatball because I'm hungry. So let me go ahead and try everything before I get into what I'm talking about today. Not like I don't know what everything's gonna taste like, but I'm gonna try it. I feel like I want some dipping sauce with that. And then I have apple slices. These are Honeycrisp apples I got at Trader Joe's. And they're super small. They're like this big. When normally Honeycrisp apples are like that big because they're so modified. I mean, every Honeycrisp apple is like heavily modified because every food in general is heavily modified. But what I'm saying is these are abnormally small and juicy. So I'm gonna be back and I'm gonna make a sauce. Okay, so I'm back with another sauce, and it's rice vinegar, soy sauce, and a little sesame oil. So let me try it. Woo!
Man, those stairs get me every time.
Good. I'm so excited. But anyways, I'm so excited because I haven't had this one in a while, and I just can't get down with the Choppy Yeti brand, which I know is OG, but I can't. But anyways, today I'm going to be talking about toxic relationships, which is super interesting, I know, super fun to hear about, but I just want to talk about it because I feel like whenever I experienced it, I learned a lot, and so maybe someone else can learn, I guess. Oh my god. It's so much better. It's like exponentially better. I can't explain it. Oh my god. Okay, but anyways, back to relationships. The purpose is to just like understand different ways that something can be toxic instead of just the normal like things you may see online, because things happen and I knew that it was wrong, but I didn't understand like why it was happening. And I didn't understand what to do with it. So before I get started, I want to mention that this isn't so much about toxic relationships as a whole. It's more like how narcissists in particular act in a relationship and how that makes it toxic. So it all started on Tinder.
Where all good things happen.
We met, he was pretty cool, and hung out for the first time. And this is the first thing that went wrong, is after having met for the first time, the relationship moved so quickly. Or like, it was as though we were acting like boyfriend and girlfriend after barely knowing each other. And that's something that can happen and as like a catalyst to a toxic relationship, because at that point you don't really know each other. You're kind of just in that stage where you're acting like you're dating, but again, you just don't know each other. So that was one thing. Another thing I noticed is nothing is ever a narcissist's fault. Like, he doesn't take responsibility. Oh, by the way, I'll frame it as he just because it's better instead of just saying narcissist over and over, or they. Even though women can also be narcissists. And also because the person I'm talking about in particular is a man. So continuing, a narcissist will never accept blame for something, even if it is clearly his fault. The blame, if something goes wrong, is either shifted to you, shifted to someone else, shifted to external forces that like no one had any control over, even though it's clearly his fault. So that's another thing. And that can make you end up apologizing for things that never really happened and that you have no responsibility for. So you have to trust yourself enough to remember what actually happened. Because I remember on several occasions, I would be recalling a story and then I knew I got it right, because one, why would I lie? And two, like, it didn't happen that long ago. I'm obviously gonna remember. And then he would be like, no, it didn't happen like that. Or, no, I didn't do that. And that's just a way of someone putting power over, like, your own memory. You know, and taking that away from you. To where you start questioning if you're remembering things correctly, or if that's actually the way you felt when that thing happened. Which is a really big thing for me, because even in life, like outside of a relationship, it's hard for me to like accept my feelings as they are without some sort of rationalization or evidence behind them. And so it was even more difficult when I had like all of this evidence coming at me. I had what I felt, what I thought happened, what he says happened, what he says other people did versus what I think they did. And so that was just confusing me, and I started not believing what I felt in response to things that happened. During like fall 2019, the semester prior to this, I had a class and the professor made us keep journals like every day, which some people thought was stupid, but I was actually glad because it basically meant I could do what I was already doing, but for a grade. So I started keeping journals more intensely, because before that I would just come back like every few weeks, say how I was feeling or what had happened, if anything was notable during the past month. But this time it was actual every day. Like, I was pretty diligent with it, or I would at least go back the week and then like recount what happened each day from memory. So that really helped when it was time for me to start struggling and decide, like, do I want to be with this person? Is it worth it? Because instead of wondering, is it really that bad, or making myself think it's gonna get better, I can go back weeks or months before and see, like, yeah, nothing has changed. I felt this way on this day. It happened exactly as I said. And so I can trust myself because I wrote it down. So if you are in a relationship, or just in general, I definitely recommend keeping a journal, because it helped me so much to be able to finally let go, because I realized that like I was right and I can trust myself. So that's another big thing I learned, is aside from what a narcissist acts like, is that I can trust my intuition. So let me think of some other examples that happened. Aside from the claiming that I was wrong or my memory was wrong, aside from that is the way he talked about his mother. Now, this may sound weird because, like, oh, he loves his mother, that's so good, like, they're close, that's really good. But after a while, I realized how much he actually doesn't care about his mom, and he was just using that against me because he knew I liked her. And he knows that to any girl, of course, you're gonna want to seem to have a good relationship with your mom. But in reality, he would say all those things to me, and then whenever they would call, like, he would say something mean to her, or after, he would be like, oh, she's so dumb, or something. Or he would, like, go behind her back and lie to her. And I saw a tweet about that, which made me think of this. Okay, it took a while, but I found it. So the tweet says, is he manipulating you into thinking you're always at fault because he was born an asshole, or because he spent his whole life listening to his mom tell him he could never be wrong and kissing her on the lips? Think about it. So I saw that, and like his mom really babied him and like never really disciplined him, and I could tell whenever they hung out together. And that's just one thing that I realized really used against me. And you always have to be mindful of that. Which kind of brings me on to another point. Tweet says, like, manipulating you into thinking he's an asshole because of this. Sometimes he would tell me like how sad he was, or like make me feel bad for him. And another big thing is he used like a possible mental disorder into making me feel bad for him and sympathize with him. Like whenever we first met, he said bipolar disorder. For me, I can't automatically disregard that if someone like seemingly opens up to me and tells me that they have a mental disorder. So I really kept that in mind for like the first few weeks meeting him, and then I even did research to see like symptoms. There are a few different types of bipolar disorder, and I just used it constantly to rationalize his behavior towards me, even though it was completely toxic and not healthy, and like he truly did not care about me. He would always put me down for my age because there was a 4-year age gap, which is pretty big, but maybe even at this age, it was pretty big. But I think with the right person, it would have been more manageable. But he really did just keep putting me down for it. Like always calling me, well, not specifically calling me anything, but just implying that I was inferior, that he knew more, that there was more experience on his end, which is obviously true. But that shouldn't play negatively into a relationship if it doesn't have to. And he would always tell his friends like how young I am. And then it really just made me feel about my age, which isn't something I can control at all. So I got self-conscious about the age gap. And so it's another thing. It feels like as I'm talking about this, more examples keep popping up in my mind. because I kind of came into the video not having like clear points to go through, but now everything just
keeps resurfacing.
Another thing is, and this is common in toxic relationships, I literally had to beg him to communicate with me. I am kind of not a good communicator myself, I would say, when it comes to my own feelings, but I feel like I'm pretty good at communicating like what I want and communicating that I want to communicate. And I would just have to beg and beg him, and then he would string me along, and then I would get like little snippets of what he was thinking. And then I thought that I had made some progress in terms of getting to know him better. But in reality, like, there's nothing to know. So again, I kind of drew that back to like the bipolar disorder, or like maybe a rough childhood I thought maybe he didn't ever learn. And that's just me rationalizing everything and always needing an answer. A big thing that indicates something is wrong is whenever you don't feel comfortable talking about the details of your relationship with like friends or family. And of course, you don't need to share like every detail, but when it's hard for you to say one good thing about your significant other, and then you kind of dread bringing it up with your family because they know that he's bad and you know that they hate him.
That's bad, bro.
But anyways, I think this is the last thing I want to mention. The last thing I want to mention is just in general how a narcissist thinks. I feel like we kind of throw around the term narcissist, narcissistic, so the meaning kind of gets a little muddled. But obviously narcissistic is just an adjective to describe like someone's behavior or someone's attitude. But like a true narcissist really believes that they are better than everyone else, and not in an arrogant way. Like genuinely believes that he can do no wrong and that nothing is ever his fault. And that really shows in his actions. Like, doesn't take accountability, talks down on other people, thinks he's the best at everything, even though there's no evidence to back that up. If you point out something that happened in the past, doesn't really align with what he's saying now, or there's like, what's the word? Discrepancy in what he's saying, then that's not his fault. Like, the circumstances changed, or he didn't mean it that way, or I perceived it the wrong way. Like, that's one big thing, is you have to stay confident in what you know is wrong and right. Because I knew I wasn't hearing things incorrectly. Like, I know how to put things together. And the best thing to do with a narcissist is to just not give them the power over you. Which sounds kind of hard and weird. But basically just don't give them attention. Like, they literally thrive off attention and things going their way. So just don't give it to them. And then they'll move on to someone else that they can manipulate. Anyways, that was my experience, kind of like pretty watered down, but the main points. A little bit about narcissists. But the main thing is journaling. That helped me so much. And even if you don't need to look back on it for like any evidence purposes, it really is nice to keep track, and you can go back like I have journals from years ago. I can look, see what I was thinking, see who was annoying me at the time. I'm gonna finish these apples. I hope you enjoyed. If you're gonna eat jjajangmyeon, instant noodles, please get this brand because
I'm sorry, I just can't. Like,
the spaghetti is not good, okay? I'm sorry. This one is just way better. The sauce is like actual sauce. There's like little bits of, I think this is black bean or something. That's really good. Add in the spicy seafood powder. It's a little spicy. So much better. But anyways, I'll see you guys next time. And I hope you enjoyed today's video. Bye!